I don't think people understand how much strength it takes to pull your own self out of a dark place mentally. So if you've done that today, or any other day, I'm proud of you.
You're broken down and tired.
I just kind of talk and then, oh, hey, look at that. We are recording. Ladies and gentlemen, don't get excited. I know you don't see the regular people on there. Ladies and gentlemen, this is J-Dubs. This is JK'z Rewatchable Hour. I have some of the finest gentlemen around that we're part of this Facebook group called about podcasting. We've been talking for a few days about mental health, and we've come on this show today. Ladies and gentlemen, obviously, depending on where you're looking, because the editing team of JK'z Rewatchable Hour sucks, and they're never going to be in the same spot. So the other guy with glasses, his name is Dave. Dave, how you doing, sir?
Oh, great. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you. And the gentleman in the red hoodie, he's from Detroit. Ladies and gentlemen, I say that because I'm a Bears fan. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Mikhail. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good.
Good. And the other guy, he's kind of dim there. He's way overseas from the UK. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jordan.
Hiya, mate. Nice to have to come on this, and thank you for having me on. And I hope that you're doing well too.
I am doing wonderful. How are you gentlemen really doing today? Doing good?
Yep, fantastic.
Yeah,
Good.
pretty good, mate. Thank you.
You know, the reason why I said that is because I mean, we're all strangers, so you know, when I was growing up, we would play backyard football. You know, you couldn't say that you weren't okay or anything like that. And you know, when we decided to do this, I could not wait for tonight, because mental health is, as you can tell by my shirt, right? I think it's really, really important. And just to share my story with you, just to break the ice. Growing up, I always walked with my head down. I thought that I was different, and I couldn't talk. Where I come from, you couldn't share your feelings. You couldn't get out of that man mold. You know, you had to be tough. You couldn't cry. You couldn't be known as a girl or whatever. Or and it plagued me for 3 decades. And about 8 years ago, I hit one of the lowest points in my life. I did not like anything about any given day. And I had a couple people who went through worse than what I ever went through, and they both reached out to me because they knew something was wrong. And one of them is 265 pounds of solid muscle, right? I mean, this guy is a rock. I was expecting to be laughed at. And these are two people that I looked up to. They never laughed at me. The first words out of their mouth was, "What can we do to help you?" And I'm like, oh, okay, this is totally different. And from that point on, I'm like, oh, it's okay to be sad, to be a guy and be sad, and it's okay to feel different, which is really huge, because I think in life we all just want to be accepted. And so these two they never made fun of me. They've been in my corner since day one, and I would not be here if it was not for them. And I'm trying to spread the message that it's okay to not be okay. And I'm just going to open the floor. You can each take turns, share whatever you want, whatever. It's entirely up to you.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, just whatever you guys want to share. I mean, I just don't want to put anybody on the spot. What does mental health mean to each one of you?
I think with mental health, it's very poignant. It's there's no shame if you're struggling. I had to go through an awful lot myself with mental health when I was in a dark place myself, that I had to deal with some physical health battles. At the age of 21, I was diagnosed with testicular cancer. I'm in full remission from that now. But there wasn't much support for me out there at the time. I found it quite isolating, quite difficult to open up about such a sensitive topic, really. And it only come about that my mum was taken severely ill as well, that she had to have an open heart surgery not long after I was diagnosed with cancer. And everything just got on top of me. And it only took one morning where I just went out, felt that I couldn't cope, and I had to ring up the emergency services for someone to lean on. And they come out and supported me, and they said, like, same words as you, Jeff, like, what can we do to help? And I didn't really have that. It made me feel like, oh wow, someone's listening, someone wants to take this on board. And I felt a bit ashamed because I felt like, well, my mum's really ill. I didn't want to burden anybody else, but there wasn't anybody else that I could feel like I could open up to. And it was these emergency services that really did save my life, I suppose. And I owe a lot of gratitude to them for that to this current day, even, you know.
Yeah, I absolutely. I absolutely. I'm glad that you are healthy. I absolutely hate the cancer word. I've lost many loved ones, including my mom.
Mhm.
Um, and I'm going to say this to each of you: the courage that it just took for you to say on air what you just said. It has nothing to do with being a man. It has nothing to do with who can walk into the room and swing the biggest stick. I'm sorry, I'm just putting it out there. It's what we should have been doing all along. Mikhail, what's mental health mean to you, sir?
Mental health to me means just taking care of yourself and making sure that you're doing what you feel is best for yourself. Because a lot of people have, ideas or give you advice, but ultimately it's what you feel is best for yourself. You can't do things and take advice that just because somebody's giving it that is good for you. It may have worked for them, but you have to do what works for yourself. You have to take what you can learn from different people in different situations and apply it to yourself and to strengthen your own mind. So yeah, mental health to me means doing what's best for yourself.
I absolutely love what you just said. Sometimes people that I've talked to, they don't understand any kind of concept, which is fine. I think literally what you just said is impeccable. That is perfect. Because I can relate to that because I never thought of doing what was best for me. I always was
Mhm.
like try to make somebody else happy
Right.
because you know, I mean, I was suffering while everybody else was happy. That was perfect, Mikhail. Am I saying your name right? I
Yeah,
apologize.
Mikhail. Yep, that's right.
That was perfect. And again, thank you for sharing that. It takes a lot of courage to speak your mind, especially on the air.
Mhm.
Um, Dave, what's mental health mean to you, sir?
Sure, sure. I think it begins with the um, to be in the right frame of mind to live life on life's terms. And there's so much of life that hits you that we're not well trained in. I mean, for example, grief work, especially as men. I mean, it's not something that taking the time to guide us to say, okay, this is normal or this is not normal. You need to seek help, and it's okay to seek help. So
Mm, yeah.
that for me is yeah, the importance of mental health is so vital. I mean, we'll seek a doctor out if we've got stomach issues or broken leg, but so many times people will skip time and time again when vital mental health is crucial.
Mhm.
100%. And again, thank you for uh, it takes courage just to speak from the heart. And um, I was actually one of the people that you just described there, Dave. Like, you're right. You could go to the doctor and you have a broken leg, you're not feeling well, and or whatever. But to go and talk to somebody about your problems, no, because let me get you guys' opinion on this. I was afraid I would be laughed at. Like, I spent over 3 decades like so far behind in life because I was so afraid to be laughed at for saying, "Hey, I'm not okay." I didn't think anybody would listen, but I was wrong. Hundreds of thousands of people will listen. It's just, and I tell everybody like what you said. I use the analogy when I talk to some people. If you had a broken leg, would you put a band-aid on it or would you go get it fixed? They're like, no, I'm going to go get it fixed. Well, that's the way it is when it comes to mental health. You may
Mm,
not find anybody in your immediate circle, but look at this. we're four people from all walks of life, and here we are today, right? You just never know who you're going to run into. But like, I want to ask this, and you don't have to answer. Like, I did not want to go get help. I did, but I didn't know how because I was afraid of being laughed at and put down. And I'll just use an analogy. If you're talking with five people and they all know about cars, and you're not a car guy like me, I'm not a car guy, you're going to be like, felt like you're left out. So that's really how I felt. Like if I told some of my closest friends, hey, I feel like crying all the time, I was afraid of hearing, man up, man up, like get over it. And that's the worst advice you can ever give somebody is that. Let me get your guys' opinion on that. Speak freely, please. The question is, go ahead.
About the man.
Yeah, I think it's spot on, really. Yeah, I think it's really spot on what you've just said, though. I think for worlds, we perceive it as a scary place and a very isolating place. But it was put into a context for me as well that you're not alone in this. A lot of people struggle. A lot of people are in the same place as you. You may not realise it. And I suppose that in the long run gave me, I suppose, some comfort. It made me feel like, okay, I can open up a bit more. And yeah, it's just, we need more kindness in the world and people to understand. And I'm sure it's getting there, but we still need to break that stigma somehow.
Agreed. Dave or Mikhail?
What did you say the question was again?
It basically like the reason why I didn't come forward was because I was afraid to be laughed at and put down and made fun of and looked at differently. It looked to be made to feel different.
Right. Well, I mean, we all have to accept that we all are different. That's a major thing. To accept that we're going to we might deal with the same situations, but we are going to deal with those situations differently. And I guess that's what helps when you are around people that are dealing with the same situation, because everybody's able to give a different perspective and everybody can take from and learn from everybody's perspective. So yeah, dealing with it on that level is just to keep your mind open to, like I said, take advice, but still just do what's best for yourself and not really care about what anybody thinks. Because you can care so much about what other people think to the point where you neglect yourself even more. You think that you're getting help from other people, but by not doing, like I said, what you feel that you should do, you end up neglecting yourself even more and pushing yourself even further down into depression or anxiety and things like that. So it's just about building confidence in yourself to know that you can escape from whatever mental issues that you're dealing with.
100% spot on. And I am very secure with myself, and I have a lot of self-esteem now as opposed to growing up.
Right.
And I am not ashamed to say that what you were talking about describes me from like probably birth to like 35 when I started wanting to change my life. Didn't really know how, but so spot on. Absolutely. That was absolutely. Dave.
Sure. For me, I grew up, kind of a rural community where it wasn't talked about. Any sort of mental health. You're definitely crazy if you got help for feeling crazy. And then part of my background is a recovery story as well with addiction. And so when I first started, experiencing some mental health issues, I wondered, okay, is that a byproduct? Then again, maybe that seeking out was some way to cover up what I was originally experiencing. So I can, even being a couple of years clean and then experiencing a huge panic attack in a hallway of a stairwell, just thinking, what is wrong with me? I'm having a heart attack. It wasn't until the doctor's like, no, nothing's wrong with your heart. You may want to get your anxiety checked out. I was like, no, I don't have anxiety. What are you talking about? Um, and then finally sitting down again and again and again and realizing, okay, it's not my heart. There are other things that are at play here.
Mhm.
No, wow. I'm glad that you're healthy. I'm glad that nothing serious physical wise, but you take away from it, you came out of that in a better mental vision is what I want to say. Um, uh, so, so you had said about the addiction. Mine was alcohol, and some extra drugs, not a lot, but I was a heavy drinker because I was always the one that looked down because I would never look at anybody in their eye, right? Because I thought like somebody was gonna look at me and laugh. And let's be honest, nobody wants to be laughed at. I mean, if you're with your friends or whatever and you're joking, that's one thing. But if somebody was to laugh at you, it kind of makes you feel a little, a little person. And but the more I drank, the better I came. I was the life of the party, and that, and as Mikhail was saying, I was pretending to be okay, and I was drinking more to forget about everything that was happening. Because I didn't like who I was, so I tried being what I really didn't want to be because that was easier for me to deal with than saying I have a problem. And the drinking was a lot. It was excessive, and it was just my way to escape. It was my way to escape all the harm, all the bad feelings. And coincidentally, as messed up as this is to say, how I got treated, I was treating people the same way because I didn't know any better, and I was I was one of them individuals that looked for a weakness to point out to make people feel bad because I felt horrible about myself. And as shitty as it is, I made people feel bad about themselves to make myself feel better, almost like a superior person. And I wish I never did that. And I don't do that to this day because it's wrong. You should take a person and just judge them on their character. Nothing else should matter.
Yeah.
I mean, I talk to a lot of people, as I'm sure we all do, because we found this group on Facebook, and some of our shows, people have reached out and said thank you for doing the show. I mean, a simple thank you from a stranger really solidifies just talking to somebody. You just never know who you're ever going to run into.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Everyone's got their own different experiences, haven't they, in life?
Uh-huh.
Um,
And go ahead, Jordan.
no, I think it's just that's it. I've learned over here I still feel there's some approaches here in the UK that we could do better to get it more recognised. There's charities and that support, which is good. But in healthcare settings, I have to be totally honest and upfront. I don't think it's very much understood still over here to a high capacity in that degree, because there was a time that I was taken into hospital with mental health problems, and the nurse looked at me and she accused me that I didn't have mental health problems, even though I was really on the edge with depression. And that really made me at an all-time low, thinking that you're going to someone to seek for some help, and they just sort of bypassed that and didn't seem to acknowledge it, and just thought that I was. It's a harsh way of saying it, but faking it, I suppose. You know, and
Mhm.
that makes you feel even worse.
Yeah, 100%. And that's you guys are all like I can relate to everything that you guys say. Because you should be able to talk. You should be able to be put down or looked at differently. And one of the things that I had made a note here about was I am very fortunate. I have a support group. I don't have hundreds of people. I don't. I outgrew that whole needing a bunch of people because um I just that's not me. but I have a group of people in my life that I can trust and count on.
Mm.
Growing up, being honest, it was probably 3. Now I have like 15. Do you each of you have a support group, a friend? It could be a brother, sister, uncle, friend, female friend, coworker. You get on the subway or whatever. Do you guys have a support group?
Oh yeah, I'll jump in with this one first. So I have a couple of different support groups, both from a religious small group setting. I also have a men's group that I'm part of because there's some things both as men that we deal with both spiritually and mentally in response to that. And then I have a couple of close friends that we kind of do a little check-in. Sometimes it's more frequent than others. So sometimes we check in a couple of times a week, and then sometimes it's been a couple of weeks before we begin the check-in.
Okay, but you obviously have somebody that I don't even know how to tomorrow at like 8 o'clock, if you were having a bad moment, you could text or call somebody that would, okay, perfect, that's perfect. What about you, Mikhail?
No, I can't say I really have a support group. I just make sure, what I would say my support group would be, I hang around and talk to people that are doing well in their life. So I think the best way for mental health to prevent issues in mental health is prevention of the issues rather than having an issue and then trying to fix it. So that's what my attempt is, to talk to people and hang around people that don't have any issues, as to prevent myself from even getting any issues. Or, if I have those issues, just being around them and talking to them and seeing how they're dealing with life and enjoying life helps me to realize that I just need to focus on enjoying life and not to even focus on any problems that I may think. Because, when you may think that you have a problem, when you start to focus on that problem, it just makes the problem worse. You think it might be helping yourself to try to figure out, what do I do or what do I need to do? But you need to get over the problem and let it go and stop holding on to the problem and trying to fix it. The best way to fix it, I think, is to let it go.
I agree, absolutely. I mean, and I believe that you had said it earlier. Some things that work for one person may not work for
Right.
everybody. But I like what you were saying. And I'm going to go to Jordan real quick, but I'm going to come back and piggyback off what you just said. Jordan, what about you? Do you have friend, relative?
Yeah, I'm very fortunate that I'm very close with my relatives that I can open up. I've got some good friends as well, that we bounce off of each other because we've been down some similar roads in life, and we can bounce off each other in that respect. I think this is it as well. Like, you realise again, it's bouncing off what Mikhail said, in the sense of that you need to find people that give positivity and give that shining light at the end of the tunnel. Because I think this is what I've learned as well, is that during tough times in life and adversity that you go through, you realise who your true people are in your life as well, that will stick by you through good and for difficult times as well.
100%. And the reason why I had asked about the support group is obviously, I felt, even though I had lots of people, right? I always said I know a lot of people, but my circle is small. And I want to go back to what Mikhail was saying. So I'm not putting words in anybody's mouth. I've come to realize that there's 2 people around you: the no people and the yes people. The yes people are the ones that will agree with you no matter what, right? I mean, I think we've all heard the expression, "Don't go ask a broke person what to do with your money," right? Because they're always broke, so you're not going to ask them. I was always around the yes people. I never listened to the no people. I want more no people that would say, "Hey, what you doing is stupid. That's not right. Don't be doing that." Instead of enabling somebody and just and just agreeing with them. Like, you see somebody just constantly making the same mistake, right? And they say, oh, you're fine, don't worry about it. But
Right.
I want to know people that be like, listen, it didn't work the first 2 times. Why don't you just stop and move on? And that has been a huge part of my life, because once I figured out that the yes people are not the ones that I want to be around, like Mikhail said, I want to be around the ones that are making it, that are doing it, because that's going to make me up my game. I pushed many, like 100 yes people out of my life. I don't care, because I'm not better than anybody, but I'm trying to be better than who I was a day ago. And if you're going to sit here and tell me the same stuff that you're going through and you haven't changed, and you want to be around me, no, I don't want that. I've tried helping you. I was where you were at. Now I'm where I'm at, and I want to grow. Do you guys believe in that yes friend, that no friend, or what's your take on it? I piggybacked off Mikhail.
Yeah, I believe that because some people, that are dealing with mental issues or depression, anxiety, doubt, whatever, fear. Some people, it's maybe unbelievable, but some people want to stay there. Like they're comfortable being there.
Yep.
They may speak that they, when they get to a certain point of irritation, they say, "Oh, I want to change this and that," but then it's nothing after that feeling. Like once that feeling goes away, they're back to their comfortable state. And that's what I'm saying about being around people that are not even having those issues, because you can get comfortable with anxiety and fear. You can get comfortable with that stuff. And if you're around a group of people that are comfortable with it, you end up just talking about your problems and no solutions. So, yeah.
No, absolutely, I agree. Dave, Jordan, you want to chime in with that?
I was just going to say I've seen the same response from the opposite end. Some people are very comfortable in the chaos, and so and so instead of the whatever the issue is, then they swirl up for the chaos once again and again and again, because that's their normal.
Right.
So.
Jordan, I'm just writing notes so I don't forget. So go ahead, Jordan.
No, it's all good. I totally agree with everything that you've said, gents. So, it's even made me think in a different perspective, really. So I appreciate you sharing that, because it's given me thinking, okay, what can I do next? What can I do to act? And every day's a new day, as cliche as it is. It's to go on that next step forwards with your own path in life that you feel that you want to take,
100%. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with those yes people. That's how they live their life. It's fine. But I was one of those, and I congregated to those people. That's why I never evolved. I like to use the word evolve a lot. And like you said, Jordan, everybody has the same 24 hours. It's I go to work every day. I go to the gym for an hour and a half. I come home. I do some podcasts. Got the wife. We watch shows. I don't have to do any of that, but it's a choice for me to do that. Imagine what my life was like being depressed and in a fog and in a daze, and I miss so much about life. And ever since I got, and I'm not bragging, I know people have done way more than me. Ever since I've got out of this fog that I was in, this tunnel vision, I make more money. I've traveled out of the country. I've traveled to many states, been up to Canada. This would not have been possible had I have not made a choice to say enough is enough. And bless you. And just within the last 6 months, like I said, I pushed a lot of that the negative bullshit away from me. Like I tell everybody, if you got it, stay away from me.
Right.
I will listen to you, but like Mikhail was saying, if you're not going to change, like and Dave, you touched on about they want to stay within that chaos. If that's what you want, that's fine, but don't complain to me because you won't change. And we got about 8 minutes before we take a commercial break. I wrote this down. I wanted to get your guys' opinion. I think we just touched on it, but I wrote it down. The comfort level. That's where I was. I was so afraid to get out of my comfort zone. And because I did that is why it is a big part of why things change. What's your guys' take on that?
Yeah, well, you need to changing your comfort zone or not being comfortable at all and just always wanting to advance your life and always wanting to better yourself. And knowing that some people want you to stay messed up, even though that might seem messed up. Like some people don't want you to get better. They feel like, oh, if you get better, you're gonna start doing more than me, or I'm in a superior position because you're always feeling down, and I'm the one that always comes and says, no, let's do this. And so it's like if you get better, then they feel like what's their purpose in your life. But that comes with, picking the people that you hang around and knowing that you have to be aware that some people don't want you to change, and be able to be aware of those people that are in your life that don't want you to change, because they'll help keep you in that spot. And when they see you climbing out of it, they might say little things and do little things that'll knock you back down, whether they know it or not, or they might not know they're doing it, or they might be doing it on purpose. But either way, that's what being aware of, doing what's best for yourself, and also hanging around the people that are best for you to be around, and not just being around people because you're comfortable around them. Even though they may be hindering you, you just become comfortable to being around them. But like I said, it's just letting things go. Stop holding on to things.
100%. And before I go to Dave and Jordan, getting out of the comfort zone. I went and bought a house. I have a truck payment. Those were some of the things that I was like scared to do. I'm like, oh no, that's like a lot of money. Mortgage, this, that, and I'm in charge of a house, and the truck. That's more money. But you know what? Once you understand that if you have a plan and a plan of action, anything is possible. Like, yeah, it might be scary to get out of the comfort zone, like the only life you've ever known. But if you see a positive, like, I don't know, like I used to drive a piece of shit car all the time, like no matter what. Sometimes like it didn't want to start, the heat didn't always work, it never had AC. I don't know. You name it, my cars went wrong with it. Coming at a stoplight, it would just die. I'd have to get out and push it, or hopefully it would start. But because I decided I wanted to change, better things came, and and now I have air conditioning, and I have just I was able to afford brand new tires last year. Something I never did. And again, that's just something that happens when you get out of your comfort zone. Better things will happen if you stick to it. Because if you quit, you go back. So, Dave and Jordan, what's your guys' take on the whole comfort zone?
Sure. For that comfort zone process, I've got I sidetrack all sorts of tools and tricks of things to be comfortable being uncomfortable. But for me, I like it back to a simple principle. My first CrossFit and jiu-jitsu instructor shared this with us. He called it the 80-20 rule. 80% of the time, if you can do the things that kind of bring a sense of stability, and then 20% of the time, do something to shake it up, to stretch you. The reason being is if we're always in that stretch zone, then it's too much trauma where the chaos is swirled up. We can't find a sense of normalcy. But if we stay in that comfort level, then we get complacent. Then we will miss life will run us on by. But if we have a good balance of when's the time to be comfortable and when to be uncomfortable, those are the spaces that we can really grow.
Absolutely. Jordan?
Yeah, sound words, gents, and I think this is it. It's about principles in life, but you've got to be willing to adapt to change for better. And I've always been a firm believer in life. It's pretty much what you guys are saying, but it's where in life you've got to take risks to get the rewards that you want in life as well. And you've got to push yourself in them zones to get you out of that comfort zone like you've been touching on. And that's why life is a gift, because you've got to make the most of every single living day. And and another day is an opportunity to grow even more.
Absolutely. I'm just going to stop recording. I just call it a commercial break. I'm just going to stop recording. We're going to come right back. Don't go anywhere, gentlemen. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am JK'z. We are back after a commercial break. This is JK's Rewatch Bar. I have some of the most incredible gentlemen that I have gotten to know in this last half hour. We're from all over the globe, ladies and gentlemen. We have Dave, we have Jordan, we have Mikhail. We're talking mental health. As you can tell by my shirt, I live this every day. I wanted to start this off by talking about podcasts. That's what we all do. That's how we all met. And I'm not ashamed to say this, but staying with what we were talking about getting the negative people away from you. I actually have friends and family that do not support me on this. They don't ask me any questions. I don't even think they even care. Back in the day, that would have stopped me from even attempting anything like this. Now, all I think about is doing a podcast, blowing up, making a lot of money. We all want to make money, let's be honest. But I'm looking to change lives, and when we decided to get you three on here and we were just going to talk, we were going to open up, we were going to break the stigma of guys not talking. I could not wait until 7 o'clock tonight. And, I know that we see a lot of the comments on the Facebook thing, and people say, how do you keep going when there's so much negativity? My reply is just don't quit. That has been my motto for like 9.5 years now, is do not quit. What is each of yours driving force every day? What is it that drives you to never go back to where you once were?
I would say just wanting new things, wanting new experiences. You get tired of the same experience, or if you already had that experience, it's no use to go back through it again, especially if it was a negative experience. So just new experiences, I would say, drives me.
I love that. Love that. Dave, Jordan?
Okay, yeah, I feel that one of the things that keeps me going is I do football/soccer coaching, and I come across a lot of I want to say young lads. They're under 21s or 22, but they're still young, and a lot of them come to me now and open up about their experiences in their life, and it's just for them to have someone to talk to, someone that will listen, because life is very complex now in a lot of different ways, a lot of different pressures from social media to the outer world, if you like. And they just need someone to reach out to. And I suppose that's what keeps me going, is to be a point for someone to come to reach out to. And that makes me feel good that I can help someone, hopefully, in the right path.
I love that. Excellent. Excellent. Dave?
I'd have to echo Jordan there. It's helping others, but also expanding what Mikhail said, expanding my own set of experiences and mindsets. It's one of the reasons I love to read, is stepping into that other world and experience to broaden your own. But pretty much when I start heading in that direction of the spiral is how can I help someone else, and that lifts more than anything else.
Yeah. Believe it or not, obviously I work with mostly males, and there's 3 or 4 of us. We'll just stand right there and we'll just like talk some shop, right? And I actually had an individual say to me, hey, if it wasn't for you wanting to talk, I probably wouldn't to share some of the stuff that I shared. I'm like, that's all you really need, is just to get going, to change better. And I take a lot of pride in it. And there's I think you got to have some level of respect, right? And I wanted, before we recorded, I wanted you guys to know that if you didn't want this recorded and uploaded, I would not have done it, because I respect it, because I know that in my life I attempted to try to be better, but I got knocked back down, and I lost myself again. So I lost 3 decades of my life. I mean, looking back now, I'm sure I could have been stronger, but I didn't have that. I didn't have that network. Is what I want to say. I didn't have that people that I could trust and feel safe. And then I know that's not really macho to say safe, but who cares? People are safe around me. I don't care about color, religion. I don't care if you're gay or whatever. I don't care. I judge you on your character. So I tell everybody you're safe with me. Um, and I was making some notes, and I apologize. I don't remember who said it, but I think it was Jordan. There was a time when I didn't want people coming up telling me their problems. I just didn't. I was just like, I was just like so hateful of myself. Now I want people to talk to me. I want people to say, hey, you know what? I'm not feeling myself. Because the first words out of my mouth, you guys might see my comments when somebody's new in the podcast. How can I help? Because I think that goes a long way. What do you guys think about that? Just saying something simple as, how can I help?
I think it's about, how can I help? And when I do the coaching side of things, I use the motto of that it's my duty and job to make the best version of you. So if that means physically, mentally, emotionally, that's what I thrive and that's what I enjoy doing. Uncovering all them sort of things that come together that paint a picture. Because you see each individual as a different story. And in that sense of how can I help, like you just said there, Jeff, and it's it should be used more often, but uh, you know, we need to do that more in society. I think just reach out and say, how can I help today? How can we help? What can we do better to make you feel better in yourself?
Dave McHale?
I think, yeah. How can you help? I think the best way to help is helping yourself. I know a lot of people say it as self-help, but I like to say it as help self. Like help yourself. Like, when somebody might invite you to their house, to say, go in the kitchen, help yourself. That means just have whatever you want, do whatever's best for you. So I think the best way to help other people is to help yourself, because you can't help anybody else without helping yourself. Even if you want to be a person that gives away a lot of money, you got to help yourself and make the money first. And really, that's helping other people, because we are all like one. So you help by helping yourself, you are helping other people. So asking people, I would rather say, rather than asking somebody, how can you help them? It's like, no, help yourself. Like, what can you do? And then I'll help you do that, rather than me just doing something for you. It's like, how can you help yourself? And then I'm going to help you with whatever you want to do. So that's how I look at it.
I like that. I even wrote it down. I'm gonna make sure that I make that a hashtag when I upload this of help self. Dave?
Sure. I well, first it's just for me, it's just making myself letting people know I'm here. So many people they're quick to give advice, to give here's the bulletin points, here's the steps, here's the plan, follow the plan, instead of most people would rather be heard, or someone to sit with, and then when they're ready for the advice, they'll ask for it. But usually we do a disservice by jumping in and giving so much. Here's what to do. When no, most of the time they know what to do. They just don't want to kind of sit with your own sense of strength to empower them to do what they know what to do. At the same time, if you're not doing the work, then it's hard to help somebody with that journey if you're not doing the work yourself. I think it's a good combination between what Mikhail and Jordan have said. You can make yourself available, but if you're not doing the work, they'll find it hard to relate to you as well.
That you guys are just knocking it out of the park. And again, when you guys are talking, I'm thinking of the younger me, like, trying to tell people what to do,
right?
But I'm not even doing anything. And you're right. maybe people don't want you to give them advice. Maybe they just, because that's not what they want at that particular time. And like Dave said, maybe they will come to you. And like Mikhail said, do for you, because you have to do for, like, charity starts at home is the way I took it. I'm just ad libbing. And if you do for yourself, then you can do for others. And it's okay to follow people if you're following the right people. Like, I was always following the wrong dumb ones who, but I mean, it's just the way it is. I mean, that's just how they choose to live their life, and they are still there like that. And I am just absolutely blown away, because obviously we're all strangers, but I can relate to every single thing that each one of you has said. I absolutely love it. I was making some more notes. And do you ever, each of you, ever defend another individual? Like, you see, like, the picking has gone on too far, or they're crossing that mental health border. I think we're all around people who like to bust balls and have fun, but there comes a time when, like, hey, that's just too far. That's just too much. The person does not deserve that. I there was a time when I didn't, because I told you I wanted people to feel horrible so I could feel better about myself. Now, no, I don't see the same things that people see anymore, and I don't care. I see things differently. If somebody was picking on just, I don't know, just say Jordan for the most dumbest reason, right? My thought is, why? Why is that even anything to make fun of? And you can always tell by somebody's body language, and that's what gets me. And what's your guys' thoughts on, like, defending somebody who may not be able to defend themselves?
I think that's the best thing to do, especially if you've been in that position, or if you've never been in that position and just don't want to see anybody in that position. That's the best thing to do, because some people might not know how to help themselves. Even though I'm saying you have to help yourself, some people don't know how to help themselves, and they need somebody, an example, to show them how to help themselves. It's like if someone is getting bullied, if they don't know how to stand up for themselves, they never have in life, and they see you stand up for them as an example, now they know, oh, okay, that's what you do. That's how I deal with that. So the next time someone puts them in that situation, they know exactly how to handle it and how to prevent it from even happening. So I think that is the best thing that you could do for somebody that is helpless in that moment, is to help them.
100%. Dave, Jordan?
Absolutely, and to help immediately. So many people are stuck in their own mindset that they, it's like they're that tunnel vision of not being able to step in the other person's shoes and see it from where they've lived. I mean, their grief work is different. The things that piss them off are different. The things that set them on fire for life are different. And it doesn't take that much effort to just step into those shoes just for a little bit, and see where they're coming from. They say there's three responses that people have whenever we're confronted with something. There's fight, and those are the ones we may not have to defend at all. They're ready, they're geared up. But the other two responses, one is to flee from it, and the other one's to freeze. They're just, and it's the freeze ones. They're the ones, I think, more than the flight people, that we need to step in and say, hey, here's what's going on with them. And once you do that, it kind of unlocks something within us and them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Jordan?
No, that's very true and very wise words again, gents. I think with myself, I always used to find that I was, if I used to think of helping myself when I was a lot younger, I suppose, I used to think that's me being selfish. That's how I used to perceive it. But then I suppose as I've got older and how life has turned and everything like that, I've realised it's not selfish. You've got to do that first before you can help others. It's like, as the saying goes, I can't remember word for word, but it's like, I suppose, if you're on a plane and you need one of the oxygen masks, you've got to help yourself first before helping others.
Yeah. Again, you guys are just knocking out of the park. I am so glad that we all got together. One of the things I was thinking about today, and I wrote it down, and it's something that I truly believe, and it's something I never did. The word is accountability, and obviously we don't have enough time. Growing up, I was just a shithead. That's just the way it is. 7 months ago, I was at work and I was making me and another coworker was joking, and I did not realize that my joking crossed the line. And he kind of was like, hey, I didn't really appreciate it. He said he didn't really appreciate it. I thought he was joking, but I noticed the body language, and I'm like, oh. So I pulled him aside. We went out, and I'm like, hey, what did I say? I meant nothing by it, but I saw your body language, and obviously you're visibly upset. And he told me the story of why he doesn't like that particular joke. I'm like, you know what? I apologize. I did not know. And he goes, no, you didn't know. I'm like, no, I should have known right when you looked away and you got up. And I should have stopped. I said, I apologize. I shook his hand. I said, it'll never happen again. And it has never happened again. I have never taken accountability up until like 9 years ago. I did a lot of soul searching, and I was part of the problem. I wasn't the main problem, but what does accountability, and I'm not perfect. I screw up all the time, but I learn. What is your what does accountability mean to you?
Well, to me, it means just accepting your consequences, whatever they are. And I know consequences has like a negative connotation, like people always think negative, but if you save your money to buy a car and you go to work, the consequences you're going to get the car. So consequence is not like a bad thing, but it's always used as a bad term when it's consequence. But I think accountability is just accepting your consequences of what you've done. And that way, whether good or bad, if it's a good consequence, you could do it again with your accountability. And if it's something bad, you can change that. But if you don't take any accountability and accept your consequence as something that you caused, then you won't be able to change anything, and you won't be able to continue the good that you have caused.
Yeah. I just listening to what you were saying, Mikhail. So I think Jordan had said it about being younger. I noticed like when I would go to stick up for myself, it came off as anger issues, and then which made me look like rethink like, oh, maybe I'm wrong.
Mhm.
So part of my accountability was I should have stuck up for myself back then, and realizing that um, outburst was not the right thing to do, and go about that. Obviously, we all know that life does not come with a rule book. I mean, you can't turn to page 112 and be like, okay, this is how I'm supposed to handle this situation. Um, but as you grow and as you evolve, you learn on how to deal with things. And that's why, 7 months ago when I saw my coworker, I visibly noticed he was not in the right state, or he was not in the right manner he was 2 minutes ago. So that's just my growth as a person. Um, uh, Dave and Jordan.
Yeah,
You-
I'll
Yep.
for me, the accountability piece is ability to ask the question, "What's my part?" Which may lead into some harsh consequences or some very beneficial consequences, as Mikhail was mentioning earlier. It's also, there's a triangle model that my therapist shared that helps me to see where my part is. So if I'm playing the victim, then there's some things that I need to be accountable for to do myself. Uh, However, if I'm continually rescuing somebody else or the situation, there's some things I need to back out and let it, nature take its course, you might say. Or if the other one was the perpetrator. So if I'm the one who's coming in, kind of hammering the situation, and a healthy me is being accountable to let those three take care of themselves and me be me. Um, and so what's my part? Well, sometimes I need to give, sometimes I need to take, sometimes I need to let it be.
Mhm.
Yeah. 100%. Apps. Yes. That was yes. I can't say yes enough. Jordan, what about
I,
accountability?
I think, to be fair, everything that you've said, I agree with. I can't think of anything else to add on to that. I suppose when I was younger, you was talking earlier, Dave, about freezing and that. I used to freeze an awful lot, and I wish, again, hindsight's a wonderful thing, I suppose, but like, I did stick up for myself a bit more with certain situations, and that would have been my accountability. But not in a frustrating way, but just to have stood up for myself more. You know, so a lot of things that I've learned from you, gents, tonight on the accountability side of things. Again, it's made my mind taking what you're saying, and I totally agree with everything that you said. So I can't really think of anything to add on that, I'm afraid. But very well said, all of you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And you know, and I was thinking, we can't go back and change anything. And one of the things I've come to terms with is, as long as you try, you will always be successful. And you know, we were talking about when we were younger, and so when I finally had enough of the bullshit, whatever it could have been, I would outburst, right? I would like, and like, you know, the first, like you said, you want to fight, because I would always freeze or I would fade. You know, that's just the way it was. Um, Looking back, let's say I did stick up for myself, but like, had I have just maybe had a better environment and better people around me to, because that's your support, maybe, you know, losing that argument would have gotten me to 10 more wins down the road. However, that's not the way life is, and I don't blame any of that, because I'm a better person where I am now, and that's the only thing I can focus on. And I know, Mikhail, you touched on it in the first part of this. You know, quit worrying about or focusing on the problem, and deal with it and move on. And I'm not. I have nothing against anybody for what they do. I had a conversation with this one person, and I said, "Why do you take depression meds?" Now, again, I'm not against it. I whatever. And the person said it helps me, and I said, along the lines with what Mikhail was saying, why don't you figure out why you're depressed, and you can move on from that? And they said, their reply was, well, then I wouldn't be happy. I wouldn't have to take the pills. And I'm like, I to them it made sense. I'm thinking to myself, but if you had a broken leg, you would go to the doctor, you would get it fixed. You wouldn't just sit there and say, I'll put a band-aid on it. So I just like, you know what? Sometimes you can't win, but that's them. And you know, charity starts at home, and I was just like, okay, you know, take the take the medication that you want, and if you're happy, I'm happy for you.
Mhm.
Um, so that's really all the stuff that I had thought of today to cover. You know, we still have about 13 minutes. You know, it's up to you guys. If there's something you want to share or touch on or anything, it's an open floor for you, gentlemen.
Well, I would just say about mental health, to make sure that your mental is healthy, just be aware of your surroundings. You know, different surroundings cause you to feel different ways or have different thoughts. Be aware of the people that you're around, because that causes you to have different thoughts and feelings. Be aware of the things you intake as far as what you're reading, what you're watching. That affects your mental health. And the things you eat plays a big part on your mental health. A lot of people might eat a lot of junk food and sugar and stuff like that. You like need to make sure that you're eating fruits and vegetables, because all of the food that you eat is actual information. So you want to be giving yourself good information to provide yourself with the healthiest thoughts you can. People don't think that food plays that much of a big part in their thoughts and feelings, but it actually plays a large part, very large part in what you think and what you feel. So be aware of, like I said, what you're eating, your surroundings, and the people you're around, and be aware of your own thoughts.
That is absolutely impressive. 100% accurate and right, especially the food. Coming from somebody who was depressed, I didn't care what I ate or how much I ate. But now that I'm almost 50, you have to be cautious of. My metabolism is horrible, so you have to be cautious of what you eat. So absolutely, that is perfect. Thank you for sharing that, Mikhail. That is helpful knowledge right there. Uh, Dave or Jordan, go ahead with anything that you want to add, share, touch on.
Sure. I will just mention, since you mentioned medication earlier, what the benefit of tons of behavioral science that we have now is we have all sorts of things that'll help alleviate and to kind of assist our mental health. So, for example, if your anxiety is up to here, it'll help to bring it up down to eye level. If your depression's down there, it'll help bring it up to eye level. However, if you're truly suffering, best to start with the medication. And then after you've been practicing some of these things and integrating into your life, then back off. You may need half the dose, a microdose, or none at all. But and it helps to kickstart the process. In addition, I would echo what Mikhail said. The things that we pay attention to physically affect our mental health. Exercise, and it's as the research shows is as simple as just walking the block, not doing a huge break your back type workout, just walking outside. And whatever we put into our bodies affects us as well. At the same time, our spiritual health helps our mental and physical health as well. I think it's part of that. A healthy cycle leads into a healthy cycle. The unhealthy cycle leads into an unhealthy cycle.
Absolutely, 100%. I couldn't have said it absolutely. And I was thinking, listening to Mikhail and then listening to you, I'm like, yeah, there's a cycle. So if you wake up in the morning, right, and you're like, I gotta go to work. Oh man, I gotta do this. I gotta do that. If you start off complaining, your day's gonna be shit. But if you wake up and you're like, hey, like today, I'm like 7 o'clock, man. I'm doing this kick-ass podcast. I got some great people. I can't wait to listen to them and learn. And I can't just wait. So I call it like little sponges of knowledge. Like Mikhail said, most people don't think about eating, how that affects your mental health, and it does. And he's absolutely right. So if you wake up and you just start the day off with a shitty attitude, your day is going to be shit. But if you start off with a positive thought, it will change your day, not your life, but your day. But if you do that every day, it could change your life. Jordan?
Yeah, spot on, gents. And I think as well, though, it's about accepting, in yourself a time frame that you feel comfortable with. You don't have to rush these sort of things. Take it at your own pace. Don't let anyone interfere with that situation in that sense. Only you're in control of that when you feel it's right for you in your own time. If that means that you've had a bit of a crappy day, let's face it, then the next day is a new day to put new energies in again. And the cycle keeps on going. But don't beat yourself up if you feel that it's taken a while. It might take a while, but it's okay. You're in control, and you should be one in control of that, not anybody else.
Yeah, and that's right up what Mikhail was saying. Just don't. I mean, it's there. Deal with it and move on. So, like you said, I mean, you could have a bad day, during the day, but don't let that carry over to the next day. I just want to share with each of you. One of the things that just keeps me going, just nonstop, is the. I don't like using the word promise, but I made a promise to myself 9.5 years ago. I picked myself up off the floor. I put the Bowflex up because I kind of had a hissy fit, but whatever. But my two friends talked to me, right? They called me. I had put something, I don't know, I can't remember what it was. They called me. I made a decision right then and there that I will never, ever, no matter what happens, ever go back to this lifestyle. I will never do it. I only want to climb and climb and climb. I don't care if it takes me 25 years to get to where I want to be. That is success to me. And this is just my words. I feel like I was a failure because I wasn't strong enough. I wasn't secure enough. My mental health was shit. But where I'm at now in life, that is my driving force every day to get myself to where I told myself 9 years ago, where I was going to be. And that had no direction of a podcast. But I mean, but you take what comes your way, and you either take it or you leave it. And I found this opportunity, and I'm running with it. And I just wanted to share that with you. Everybody who's listening, watching, I just want to let you know, mental health is no joke. If you're being laughed at, just remove yourself from the area. Talk to a stranger. Like the four of us are strangers. We didn't know each other until we came on, and here we are. We're sharing personal journeys, we're tragedies and stuff like that. And here we are. We have become better individuals. I don't like saying men because I think that's stereotypical. Just like, like I said, growing up. Oh, stop being a little girl. Man up. I think that's stupid. But we have all evolved and we have become better individuals. I know that you probably all had a long day. We're all in different time zones. I want to thank Mikhail. I want to thank Jordan. I want to thank Dave for coming on this show, trusting me, trusting the show, trusting each other. I told everybody that we were going to have some extra people. I want to say thank you. It takes a lot of courage for you to come on, knowing how often this is going to get uploaded into all the domains. I want to say thank you for having that courage and believing in me. I thank you for coming on this show. I'm just going to let you all have just one last send off with whatever you want to leave with. If you don't want to say anything, it's all cool. You can just give a thumbs up.
Okay, well, I'm also an MC and author. I go by the name Perfect Eclipse. You can check out my website for the Help Self books. I have selfperfectionpackage.com. And also, one more thing I want to elaborate on, as far as you saying the yes people and no people, we have to be aware and take the accountability for ourselves that we are that yes person and no person in our life. Like, don't be afraid to tell yourself, yes, you can have something good. And don't be afraid to tell yourself no, that you can't have that, because your body will try to get things. You deal with addiction and things like that. Like, I mean, literally, if you're like dealing with any addiction that you have, to help you, it may not be the all solution, but to help you, literally out loud, tell yourself no. When your body wants something that you having the issue with, it be alcohol or whatever you're doing, to literally out loud tell yourself no, not doing that. And then when you want to have things in life, tell yourself yes, because you might have doubt and fear that you can't have that, or I'm not good enough for that. But you have to tell yourself, yes, I can have this, or yes, you can do that. You have to be a yes and a no person for yourself too.
I love that. My God, you probably can see me smiling. I was writing that down. That is just fucking awesome. I thank you for that. I've never actually thought of that like that, and that's what I'm telling the little sponges of knowledge. Thank you for that, Mikhail. Jordan, Dave.
Just thank you for having me on, Jeff, and it's been great meeting all of you. And it's, as you say, we were talking that it's okay not to be okay, and just hang in there. Better days are coming. Just got to keep on believing and fighting for it.
Absolutely, Dave.
I would echo, one is if you feel that you're not okay, one, it's okay not to be okay, but number two, seek help, because you're not alone. And as when you start feeling alone, seek help, because you're not alone. and if you still feel alone, seek help, because you're not alone. There's so many people out there feeling the same thing that are right there with you. And the more that we can kind of bond together and know that, this thing called humanity, all of us can get angry, all of us grieve, all of us go through the highs, the lows, everything of life there is. And you never know who next to you shares that one little nugget, that exactly what you needed to get over that hump, or that next mile, or to wake up the next day and go, okay, it's a crappy day, but it'll be a day. And tomorrow I'll get, let's look for another one. And hopefully tomorrow, a little bit of ray, and to see the sunlight. If you can't look out and see a door, then maybe you can see a window. that you can see through and see the possibilities there.
Absolutely. And just to piggyback off what you just said, talking to a stranger, because you never know who might help you, that little nugget. I was making notes here. Seriously, I know you can't see them, but, front and back, I was trying to write as fast as I can. I took little nuggets from all of you, and I'm going to incorporate that into my daily life. So every day is a new chance to learn. It doesn't matter who you are or where you're from. You will learn if you allow yourself to want to. I guess I want to say that. I really, really just want to say one more time, thank you, gentlemen, Dave, Mikhail, Jordan.
Thank you.
I don't even know what time it is over in the UK, Jordan, but I just want to say thank you for doing this. I think I'd love to do it again. If you got some people, let's throw something together. I really respect you, gentlemen, for coming on a podcast that you knew nothing about, and it's going to get uploaded now. And you still had the courage. I appreciate you. I respect you. I love you guys for that. So I'm going to let you go here in a minute. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been JK'z Rewatchable Hour. Dave, Jordan, Mikhail, thank you for talking mental health. It needs to be talked every day. Let's make it known that it's okay to not be okay and to everybody talk. With that, gentlemen, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to stop recording. Thank you, and I appreciate you.
All right. Yeah.
Body on body, your body on max. I got my man on you. I done got way too used to your lies. Still turn around and cry for you. And yearn for it. I done waited my turn for